It's just a movie.
Just a movie? You don't understand. This isn't plans 1 through 8 from outer space. This is plan 9. This is the one that worked. The worst movie ever made.
Greetings, my friends. We are all interested in the future, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives. Future podcasts such as these will affect you in the future. I'm James Well, and this is my friend Reggie.
Hello.
Joining you for a cautionary tale of grave robbers from outer space. Hello. Well, happy Halloween, everyone. We are going to give you, just as promised on Reggie's show, if you caught it, we are going to introduce you to a classic Bela Lugosi tale. In fact, his final movie. Reggie just got done watching it. What'd you think, Reggie?
Wow, about sums it up.
It's Plan 9 from Outer... Oh, go on, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's one I've never seen. It's definitely an interesting movie. It definitely gives that Batwoman movie we did on mine a few podcasts back. Yeah, okay.
Plan 9 from Outer Space. For those of you who have ever heard of The Room, that's the movie with Tommy Wiseau. It's a really, really bad movie, but everybody loves to watch it because it is so bad. It's one of those movies that's so bad it's good, which is actually rare. Most movies that are so bad, most movies that people say are so bad they're good are really just bad. But this is kind of the original The Room. This was an Ed Wood Jr. classic from 1959. And by classic, I'm saying that with as much sarcasm as I could possibly muster. This was Ed Wood. It also stars Tord Johnson, who is a monster in several Mystery Science Theater movies. So he is quite the actor. He has quite a caliber. And it also stars Vampira, who was kind of the original Elvira or Spenguli. You know, she hosted a TV show in the 50s whenever they'd show horror movies. She was the host for them.
The Elvira before Elvira?
Basically, yeah. She was the original Elvira. It also stars Bela Lugosi for about 2 minutes. He dies in the movie, which is really sad when you think about it. Like, he died he was in poor health. He was an alcoholic. He was penniless, and his final movie was this piece of utter garbage. And that's kind of the gist of it. So let me hear your take. Let me hear Reggie's take, if I may.
My first inkling is don't waste your time. What really got me was the atrocious acting. I mean, I don't know if you can call that acting.
I'm sure Ed Wood called it acting.
The sets. I mean, I've seen better sets done for kids shows than that movie.
The tombstones. I love those cardboard tombstones
that easily fall over.
Yeah, they keep falling over when people walk by.
The acting is just
or the
like
plane cockpit.
Even the writing, the script itself. I mean, if you really listen to the dialogue, I mean,
well, it's almost written by a real alien who's trying to write a movie for Earth people.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes no sense.
That one point where all three have got guns and they're getting ready to walk into the spaceship, the humans are, and the one guy's like, "Yeah, get your guns ready," and the other two already have their guns drawn and already out there, and it's just like, dude, they already got them drawn.
Well, and Criswell, who the hell Criswell is? Like, I've read about him afterwards, but like Criswell narrates it, and at the beginning he says, future events such as these shall occur in the future. And then he goes on to talk about, and then he says, then he goes on, people do not, like, what is the quote? Let me just double check. It's so stupid. Like, I have to find it. Hold on just a second.
You know, and it's really sad that ended up being Bela Lugosi's final movie. I mean, considering he had,
God,
he's so well known.
That is
for,
like such a fall from grace, isn't it?
So well known for playing Dracula and all those different monster movies. It's just almost like, and I realize most of it's probably actually unused footage from a different movie that they used and stuck in there because. It's obviously a different actor at different parts when you see, quote, his character later on and with the current cast, and he's always got this
he's holding his
cape over his face.
And he's also about a foot taller.
And he looked a little skinnier in the face, too, the one dude.
I believe the other actor is actually just Ed Wood's dentist, if I remember correctly, or insurance salesman or something stupid like that. Like, I also like that the co-pilot and the flight attendant had, like, they're like casually talking about how when they land in Albuquerque, like they're pretty much going to have sex or party or something. They're like, hey, you want to swing by the hotel with me? Oh, I don't know. And it's just like so casual and nonchalant about it. And those cockpit scenes are hilarious because they don't even act like they're flying.
No,
like that's
the main pilot sitting there basically with his hands in his lap and the other guy's talking on the old ass radio. With a clipboard, writing stuff down constantly, and I'm sorry, it seems to me a little weird. But if they're actually on an actual plane flying, you notice how they kind of kept looking like down to look out the window. I mean, to me, they should just turn heads and look straight out, not down.
Well, I'll tell you what this reminds me of, and to say it reminds somebody of a high school play is a total disservice to every high school play that's ever occurred. What it reminds me of is a high school...
a middle school could do better production.
Well, I would say it reminds me of a high school, like, class, like English class play that you have to do in third period to get 10 points on the next assignment, and you just do it in front of the class where you set up 10 chairs and pretend like you're flying a plane. Like that's pretty much what's going on here.
I mean, I did in ninth grade. It was they did where I was going to junior high at the time, and junior high, not middle school. This is before middle school became 6th through 8th grade. I mean, I'm talking legitimate junior high, 7th through 9th grade. During English class, they did like a whole Renaissance thing for like an entire 9 weeks or whatever it is. And one of the final thing is the school held their own quote Renaissance type fair, and for my big project, I decided, and the teacher found what I decided to do for my final project unique is do a what it would sound like to do a radio play of a play kind of done in that era, done on the radio, so to speak. And I found some other people who were willing to do it with me, and I wrote the whole thing. I mean, like 40-page 2-act play that we kind of sat around with fake microphones and acted out. And it was funny because the first time I really wrote anything for other people to quote hear or see what I've done, and when I wrote it, it's like, okay, hopefully joke here, I was writing out this whole thing, not knowing. It's one of those things, if you write something, you hope people laugh where you wanted to. And when the whole thing started, it was like my parents and like some other couple, and that was it in this oversized classroom. They kind of converted as an extra little stage thing, and we were doing this thing, me and this 4 or 5 other kids that were guys that were willing to do this with me because they were getting extra points for doing it as well. But by the time we got done with the reading of the play, which took about 45 minutes, the whole quote extra theater thing was actually full.
Yeah.
Had about 50, 60 people in there, which surprised the hell out of me. And at one point, I was actually getting laughs where I had written in hopes of getting laughs. So that just told me, like, cool, so I did it right. But hell, that play could be turned into a movie and would be better than what this was.
Somebody give you $10,000 and you can make a movie apparently.
Oh yeah,
that's all it takes.
I mean, and I still have a copy of that handwritten down. I went back and read it here. It's been a little while.
We should do a radio show with it.
Oh my god! But it is so stupid to read now. It is so stupid. I mean, you have to remember this is 14-year-old quote Reggie or 15-year-old Reggie, depending on what time of year it was that when I wrote this. So I mean, to go back and read it now, you're going, what the hell am I thinking? I think it was entitled "The Wizard's Problems."
You made a play about wizards. Why am I not surprised, Reggie?
So anyway, giving away more than I probably should, but then again, this is
How many lockers did you get stuffed into in your kid?
You know, surprisingly enough, through junior high and high school, I fell into that crowd where I wasn't in the popular crowd, but I wasn't in the crowd that necessarily was the target of getting picked on and bullied.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a Hollywood. Honestly, I think that's kind of a Hollywood thing. I think the kids that do get picked on and bullied are like there's usually like something like just like wrong with them. Like,
I fell in that
and
crowd.
They deserve it.
Right. I mean, which you shouldn't do in the first place, but I fell in that group. I mean, I had my niche of friends, but I never got picked on.
Yeah.
I went unnoticed, and looking back at it, I'm happy with that because, I wouldn't want to have to go back through school today from what I see, from what goes on. So I'm glad I don't have to go through school now.
Here's that quote from Criswell at the beginning. Greetings, my friends. We are interested in the future, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives. And remember, my friend, future events such as these will affect you in the future. You are interested in the unknown.
Greetings, my friend. We are all interested in the future, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives. And remember, my friend, future events such as these will affect you in the future. You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here. And now, for the first time, we are bringing to you the full story of what happened on that fateful day. We are giving you all the evidence based only on the secret testimony of the miserable souls who survived this terrifying ordeal. The incidents, the places. My friend, we cannot keep this a secret any longer. Let us punish the guilty. Let us reward the innocent. My friend, can your heart stand the shocking facts about grave robbers from outer space?
Did this happen in the future, or did this already happen? Like,
it
make up
itself.
your mind.
Yeah, I see here where Lugosi died of a heart attack on his couch in 1956, in August of 56.
I'm sure there was drugs involved there.
It says here he was buried wearing one of the Dracula cape costumes per request of his son.
Oh wow, that's interesting. That's really
well. That's probably what
interesting,
he's most known for. So
Yeah.
I mean, why not? I mean, my grandfather was buried in his full military dress uniform.
Yeah.
So
military and dressing up like Dracula are the same thing. Yeah.
Why not?
No, yeah, I get it though. Yeah, that does make sense.
So, yeah, I think I see it down here. It says there was a lawsuit in 1979 with Lugosi versus Universal Pictures, and the California Supreme Court held that Lugosi's personality rights could not pass to his heirs as a copyright would have. The court ruled that under California law, any rights of publicity, including the right of his image, terminated with his death. I wonder, did this film have their permission to use him in this movie, or was it because they did it at the same place where maybe he was under contract at one time? And
I don't know.
So it's just interesting. I mean, because it's unusual to see some actor appear in a movie 3 years after his death.
Yeah.
So in that regards, does it say on the back of that who technically released it. Of course, then again, it could have changed hands since
Well,
originally.
right now it's licensed by Corinth Films. I love that, by the way. Like the studio company that I've never heard of that's licensing this has the audacity to call themselves Corinth. Like, like fine Corinthian leather. Like, give me a break.
Okay, it says here it was originally distributed by Valiant Pictures. VALIANT.
I wonder who owns them.
Who owns them? I don't know. Guess I can find out. Hell, it's probably one of those defunct things nowadays.
Let's see. There's another, like, the whole Criswell thing cracks me up. And part of the reason, I guess, why they had Criswell do the narration was to cover up the fact that they had to chop out that they had missing scenes for Lugosi since he died, and they didn't shoot him. But all of us on this earth know that there is a time to live and there is a time to die. Yet death is always a shock to those left behind. It is even more of a shock when death, the proud brother, comes suddenly without warning. What does that mean? The proud brother. Just at sundown, the funeral is over. The saddened group left the graveside. It was when the grave diggers started their task that the strange things began to take place. This movie is just incredibly bad. It's just... The first time I saw this movie actually was on PBS. There was a local station here in Wichita, Kansas. Well, local PBS in Wichita, Kansas, KPTS. And they used to have, and I forget his name, but he used to show movies on old movies on Saturday nights. And so when I was a little kid, I'd watch them. Mm-hmm. And, sometimes they were good, sometimes they were really good, and sometimes they were really bad. I think it was just whatever he could get his hands on. I saw Nosferatu. I'm pretty sure I saw, I don't know what else I saw. I'm pretty sure I saw Gold Diggers of 1939. That's a good movie. And then I also saw this movie, Plan 9 from Outer Space, which he explains that it was considered the worst movie of all time.
I could see why.
It's pretty bad, although I've got to say I've seen worse. I have seen worse movies than this. This movie's still, entertaining on some level. Most of the movies on Mystery Science 3000 are worse than this.
I would say this movie is probably just, to me, one step above that Batwoman movie we talked about one time.
No, it's a couple steps above the it's pretty bad. It's about a step above.
Because I'm sorry, at least this movie had a plot you could at least somewhat follow and understand, and it somewhat made sense. But that Batwoman movie did not.
The thing is, those movies have Mystery Science Theater guys making jokes, and that's really funny. And this one, I don't think they did this one. I think that they felt like this movie was already so well known that they didn't want to do it.
I came across where it said it's been done as a riff track.
Oh, I need to listen to that. Riff tracks, if you don't know, are the same guys.
But they probably didn't do it for their Mystery Science 3000. So.
Oh, my favorite scene, the worst scene on this movie, though, has got to be the scene where those two generals are listening to the tape recordings of the aliens.
Yeah.
Where, if you watch that guy's he makes a different expression every time they say something. Sometimes it's inquisitive, sometimes it's mad, sometimes he's kind of chuckling, and it's it's just so terrible.
Oh, did anyone actually read through the script first and listen to what they had written before filming? Because if you would have, figured out you got some stupid dialogue.
I don't know.
Chris, you're talking late 50s. So I just, and this particular company that released this movie, or at least originally distributed, released 60 films between 1952 and 1959.
Oh, they're probably all junk.
I'm sure they are.
All garbage.
I'm sure they are.
See, Ed Wood was insane.
You almost want to laugh.
I've seen a couple of his other movies too. Like there's a movie called Glenn or Glenda that he did, and that was supposed to be kind of about like transgender, and I think that was supposed to be reflective of himself. This movie's better than Glenn or Glenda. Just so you know, that movie's really bad. I mean, they're just terrible movies.
I'm sure there's probably a lot more tons of bad movies out there you could really watch and just trash. The special effects were cheesy as well. I mean, there's one point where it's supposed to be our Air Force guys or whatever outside.
Oh god!
Towards the beginning.
Oh my gosh!
And it looked like you could tell it was nothing more than a piece of paper or something in the background, even though you couldn't tell exactly what. I would assume it was probably some sort of blue background to make it look like a sky in the distance, but you could tell the wrinkles in the paper from the waist down. It was not outside. So, I mean, same way with a lot of the scenes with the cars and the reuse of how many times did the car go by on that same road?
Oh, yeah.
Either darkened to make it look like night or in the daytime.
Yeah.
Same way when that girl that ran from the house kept running through the cemetery.
Yeah.
Same shot. Every time she ran, it's like they cut to the monster, the guy chasing her, and then same thing, constantly.
And then Bela Lugosi coming out of the cemetery. We saw that about 3 times.
Yeah.
Like, it's just incredible.
And that woman, when quote, Lugosi's character is supposed to come into her bedroom, and she just sits there, lays there quietly, and slowly kind of creeps to the other side of the bed, yet doesn't scream until she runs past him to go out the bedroom door.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really something. In later movies, he did like softcore movies, and when I say softcore, I mean softcore. Like, I've seen one of them, Orgy of the Dead. It's not as good as it sounds. It's pretty much like girls in bikinis dancing for, like, I think Criswell's in it. If I remember. Yeah, Criswell's in it. And these girls just kind of dance. He's like, now bring on the next one. And it goes on for like 2 hours. And, oh, wait a minute. Okay, Orgy of the Dead was not directed by... Oh my gosh, it's even dumber. It was not directed by Ed Wood. It was directed by someone else named Stephen Apostoloff, or A.C. Stephen. But the screenplay was adapted by a novel written by Ed Wood. I forgot about that. Like, yeah, that movie, nothing happens in that movie. I'm not sure how Ed Wood was able to manage to write a 300-page novel about girls dancing.
I think you could classify this movie as a lot about nothing, right?
Pretty much. That reminds me, Seinfeld made fun of this.
Yes. Seinfeld, in the episode The Chinese Restaurant, which I believe is second or third season, the whole storyline around the episode, of course, is all them trying to get a table at the Chinese restaurant, from anyone who's really seen this. But the movie Plan 9 from Outer Space...
Oh, yeah, Jerry wants to see that after they...
Right, because it's supposed to be playing... which is playing for one night only, and Jerry emphasizes the significance of Plan 9 by saying, just a movie... You don't understand. This isn't plans 1 through 8 from Outer Space. This is Plan 9. This is the one that worked. This movie, the worst movie ever made. So who knew that this movie would get a reference in a Seinfeld episode?
Well, I remember when I was a kid.
Now that's
heard that.
This is going to make me have to go back and rewatch the Chinese restaurant episode now.
Plan 9 from Outer Space is also referenced on the X-Files by Mulder. Mulder's seen it 42 times. He says he tells Scully he watches this movie to help him, like, get into the mindset of investigating. It was a really stupid episode, but he says it's the Ed Wood investigative method is what he calls it. This movie is so let me say it like Mulder. This movie is so profoundly bad. It in such a childlike way that it hypnotizes my conscious critical mind and frees up my brain to make a socio-poetic leaps. And then Scully replies, "You've seen this 42 times?" So there you go. Like that was also pretty funny. Yep. This is the one that worked.
In 1991, Eternity Comics released the 3-issue miniseries Plan 9 from Outer Space 30 years later, which serves as an unofficial sequel to the film.
Oh my gosh.
You're going to have to find that.
I am going to have to find that.
Eternity Comics, oh my god, that would be a perfect... the comics might actually be better than the movie.
I don't think that's that big of a leap. I want to point out, though, movies like this, In the Room, and what's that other one I like?
I made mention while we were watching the movie that it was just something I noticed when you watch a lot of these older movies from the 50s, even from the 60s, all the women's attire always makes all their breast or chest or however it is you want to phrase it look like underneath the shirts is triangles. Maybe it's just a fashion statement of the time, but it always seems a little odd because now if you look nowadays, all the women in movies, no matter what the role, at least they look more natural. You know? And maybe it was just because of the time, but it just seemed. It's always funny to watch those older movies like that, and it's weird.
Well, I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, and I do agree with those, the triangle. But movies like Plan 9, The Room, that movie about the caveman. I can forget what it's called. I wish I could remember, but I can't. It's a good one. Movies like this are genuinely bad movies, but also enjoyable on some level. Whereas I feel like movies like Sharknado are just bad movies. Like I know they're supposed to be bad, but they're still bad. Like I feel like people, when they're bad by accident, it's like way funnier. But I feel like people feel like if a movie's supposed to be bad, then it's good. And I don't know where that came from. It's like, no, a movie that's supposed to be, there are movies that are supposed to be funny that can use kind of like, that can parody other stuff and make it seem like a bad movie. Like, like any of the, Blazing Saddles, for example.
Right.
Like, stuff like that. But like stuff like Sharknado is like, no, they tried to make it as bad as possible just to get people to watch it. And I don't know. I think there's a difference there. Maybe I'm wrong, but...
And I've never seen the Sharknado movies.
I'm never going to.
And I'm sure the first one had a unique thing about it that made it so popular. But
I think it was just so stupid.
To me, once you got to, they're up, to the fourth one now? I mean, to me now, it's just like, okay, this is getting a little ridiculous. Even though I've never seen any of them.
You know it's not going to be good.
No.
You don't need to live through it. Like, this is not one of those things you need to live through before you can have an opinion.
Whatever originality that what made the first Sharknado maybe fun to watch and appealing to the mass audiences on the Sci-Fi Network has had to have lost its appeal by now.
It couldn't have even been original. It looked like every other piece of garbage that was on the Sci-Fi Network. Like, those movies are bad. Those movies are terrible.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
I've seen porn with better CGI. You think I'm joking? It's called Pirates. It's quite good, actually. It actually has pretty good CGI. There's CGI skeletons with
Yeah, okay.
I got the R-rated version. which has no sex. There's this. It's like the most expensive porno ever made, which basically makes it a sci-fi. It's so much better than a sci-fi original, but that's kind of what it is. But I bought it. They made an R-rated version because they were like so proud of their work, I guess. So I bought the R-rated version, and like I said, there's no sex. It's just like a really dumb movie with really hot people in it, and that's about it.
Wow.
But, yeah. College was weird. Let's just say that.
Oh, yeah. I'll have to show you one of my favorite corny, almost stupid movies that I like. It's a Western. It's from the late 70s. It's got Kirk Douglas and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, you were telling me about it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
It's even got Paul Lynde. And
Yeah.
It's got some other brief cameos from other stars from around that time. But it's definitely an interesting movie. It's almost Looney Tune-ish in its qualities.
Is it
to a certain point?
It's meant to be a good movie, though, right?
It's meant as a comedy.
Yeah.
It's the comedy in it, it's almost so kind of laughable that it almost makes it funny in that regard. And here's the thing: most of the comedy revolves around. It's not necessarily with the Schwarzenegger character. He's kind of like your straight man.
Yeah.
So it's everything that goes in and around him that makes the movie funny. Most of the comedy comes from Kirk Douglas, to be honest. That's where it comes from. So him and his horse has got an attitude problem in that movie. So it's quite fun. And then also there's Paul Lynde plays an Indian chief in this movie too, and that's kind of funny. There's some scenes with him that are funny.
What did you think of the aliens? They're coming to stop human beings from creating a type of bomb that uses sunlight. And as the aliens say, sunlight is made out of mini atoms.
Yeah.
And I can tell you right now, no, it's not. I think any sixth grader could probably tell you no. There's no, well, not any sixth grader, but any like sixth grader that went, most sixth graders could probably tell you no, there's no atoms in sunlight.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, there are subatomic particles, but, that's not an atom. Like, it's pretty basic stuff. Yeah.
And at one point when either the guy or the girl in the alien, I guess it was the guy going on his rant, it almost sounded like...
That went on for like 20 minutes.
It almost sounded like an anti-war nuclear bomb rant.
Well, it does, but then they punch him and kill him at the end, and it's like, yeah, USA. So what is it?
Yeah, I don't know if that movie knew what it was meant to be in the first place.
No.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to call you can't. To me, it's not really necessarily a horror movie, even though it's listed sci-fi/horror. But I don't know. To me, it just seems like just a stupid science fiction movie.
The worst actor in the movie has got to be. He's supposed to be the hero, I guess. That pilot.
Oh yeah.
And what's funny is like, you don't notice it at first. Like, he kind of has these like chiseled Hollywood.
He reminds me of somebody
else. But the more
else.
you look at him, the more like wrong he looks. Like, you realize he's like way older than he's and out of shape than he's pretending to be, and he's caked with makeup. And
yeah.
And then that dippity doodah cop who's
knocked out twice,
knocked out unconscious twice. Who like that's permanent brain damage, by the way. But he gets he's standing by the cop car by himself. He gets knocked out by one of the ghouls, and then later in the movie, like literally, like the next scene, he's back out there by the cop car by himself and gets knocked out by another one, and it's like, oh my, this is a bad movie.
Yeah. And then the woman sees the guy coming towards her in the car, and instead of trying to scoot across and get out the other side, no, she just faints right there in the car.
By the way, all these ghouls do is walk slowly towards you. Like, you can get out of the way.
You could jog faster. Grandma could jog faster and get away from him.
Well, and then I also love how this like Jerry said, this is Plan 9. This is the one that worked. Like, so their plan is to like turn like a handful, and when I say handful, I mean 3 corpses into walking zombies to walk around and maybe kill a couple people, and that's their plan for taking over the entire planet. There were 6 billion people back in 1959 on planet Earth. Like, I don't think this plan is going to work, guys. I really don't. Oh, and I love the head alien who is wearing a Renaissance, like, jousting tunic that they, like, it's literally like a tunic with a shield and a coat of arms from, like, medieval period.
And I love
that they literally just found in the costume closet.
And I love how when you first see him, an alien who's doing paperwork.
Yeah, I know.
You think aliens would be more sophisticated, they wouldn't have to do paperwork of any kind.
This is, I mean, it's literally one of the stupidest movies ever made. Like I said, though, I've seen worse. Most of them are on Mystery Science Theater. Mono's Hands of Fate. I don't think I could watch that without... Like, that one is probably literally and that one's probably technically the worst movie, at least made in America. Like, I'm sure... So, yeah, Mono's Hands of Fate is pretty bad. And then there's... God, there's a couple others. The other one with Tori Jorgensen, The Beast of Yucca Flats, is like unwatchable. Like, I couldn't even watch it with the Mystery Science Theater guys. I was like, I can't watch this. And Monster a Go-Go was really bad. Like, so there are worse movies than this, but not very many. Yeah. So basically I wanted to do this for like a Halloween episode. Probably should have said that at the beginning, but...
I think you did. I think you made mention.
Who knows at this point? We're both so high, it doesn't even matter. No, we're not really high. We're just kidding. But yeah, I wanted to do so... Oh, I did say that at the beginning, didn't I?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to do something a little different for a Halloween episode.
I guess technically we could be high on bad acting.
We could be. We could be.
Hell, maybe it'd improve our podcasting skills.
God, I hope so. Well, so yeah, that's Plan 9. That's just a little, like, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Anything to add, Reggie?
No, not really, other than I had a spooktacular time.
I was going to ask if you had a spooktacular time. I'm glad you did.
During the movie, only 3 black cats crossed my path, so I'm good. So
there you go.
It was a pleasure and a nightmare to watch the movie. So thank you.
Well, I'm glad you liked it. Let's see. Yeah, well, anyway, that's Plan 9 for you. Just remember, you human beings are also stupid. Stupid! Stupid! Anyway, have a good night. Happy Halloween.